All right. We say the square root of 64 is what? 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. So if I said, what's the square root of x to the fourth, you would say what?
X squared.
X squared, because x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. So bear with me, right? So the answer to number 1 is simply 8x squared. All right, now my iPad is acting up, so let me see if I can fix it real quick. All right, let's see if that fixed it. All right, so again, we said the answer was 8x squared. All right, I'm pausing for a second. Sorry, guys. All right, is everybody okay with that? So 32 breaks down to 2 times 16. Now you go and you say, okay, what's the square root of 16? 4. What now is the square root of x to the fourth? X to the second. And what's left behind? 2 and an x. It's really, truly that easy. All right. Now, some of you are saying, well, what if I did 4 times 8? Square root of 4 is what? 2. There'd be a radical 8 left. But 8 has a perfect square in it also. 4 times 2. What's the square root of 4? 2. There's already a 2 on the outside. So 2 times 2 is still what? 4 radical 2. So it's the same answer. You just want to try to find the largest perfect square. All right. Now let's knock out number 5 now.
Which one's the answer? 4x squared.
Yeah, 4x squared radical 2x. That's our answer. I have no idea what you just said. Nora, I don't know what you're saying.
Is it like the square root of 2 and
Square root of 2 is not a perfect square, if that's what you're asking me. That's why what?
there's a radical there?
Yeah, that's why 2x was left behind. 2 is not a perfect square. X is not a perfect square. That has no friend to go out and play with, so they have to stay home. All right, if you have a friend to play with, you can go outside. All right, that's how we used to teach it. All right, so the square root of 81. What's the square root of 81? Is that a perfect square? Yes. Is x to the fourth a perfect square? Is y to the ninth a perfect square? No, because variables, they have to be even to be perfect squares. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into 81, x to the fourth, y to the eighth, y. In a little while, you'll get so good at it that you don't have to do that step. But right now, all right, you're just learning. So you break them down into perfect squares. What now is the square root of 81? 9. What's the square root of x to the fourth? X squared. What's the square root of y to the eighth? Y to the fourth. And radical y is left behind. Anybody have any questions with that? Anybody? All right, here we go. Is 72 a perfect square? Is 72 a perfect square? No. But what number in 72 is a perfect square? 9 and what? 8. But there's a perfect square in 8. So tell them.
36.
36 times what?
Times 2.
36 times 2. Does everybody see what we could do? You could break 72 down to 9 times 8, but then you'd have to break 8 down into 4 times 2. Everybody with me on that?
Yeah.
Or you can just say, well, I know 72 is 36 times 2. So I write negative square root 36 times 2, x to the 6th, y to the 10th. Why is it okay to say x to the 6th, y to the 10th? Because they're perfect squares. They are perfect squares. So what's the square root of 36? Notice there's a negative out there. What's the square root of x to the 6th? What's the square root of y to the 10th? Y to the 5th. Radical what? Radical 2. Come on, it just takes practice. Just takes practice. All right, next, number 9. 40. What perfect square is in 40? How much?
4 and 10.
4 and 10, right? We could say 20 and 2, but neither one of those is a perfect square. 8 and 5 is 40, but neither one of them is a perfect square. You with me? So 4 times 10, x to the 16th, y to the 8th, y. Everybody's good with that?
Yeah.
So what's square root of 4? What's square root of 4? So now it's plus or minus 2. What's the square root of x to the 16th?
X to the 8.
X to the 8th. What's the square root of y to the 8th? Y to the 4th. What's left behind? What's left behind? 10y. Thank you. Now's the time to get involved. That's right. You played around for a couple weeks. Now you're back on track.
I get 10 y.
Well, the 10 is not a perfect square. That's what Nora was trying to ask me, which I didn't understand what she was saying. 10 is not a perfect square, so that has to stay home. Y is not a perfect square, so that must stay home. The yellow highlighted are the perfect squares.
Oh.
You with me? The yellow is the perfect squares. The greens are not the perfect square. All right, so number 11. Is 100 a perfect square?
Yeah.
Is A.
No.
Can we break down A though?
No.
No. Is B to the 4th a perfect square? Yeah, so everybody should be able to just tell me it's what?
10 b the square radical a.
Come on, that's it. That's how easy.
And I'm good.
It's very easy. All right. Now, most people can't break down 180, so hear me. You could do 9 and 20, but then you know what? 9 and 20, 20 can break down to 4 and 5. So 180 is on the test a lot. So I want you to remember square root of 180 is 36 times 5. I just want you to remember that. All right. And then it's x to the what? 8x. That's how you break down the variables. So what's square root of 36?
6.
X to the 8th.
X over
And what's left behind?
5.
5x. Really, really simple. Really simple. All right. Now, plus or minus. What number goes into 3, 6, and 3?
7.
3
What?
or 7, right?
Yeah.
3 goes into 7 goes into 3, 7 goes into 6, and 7 goes into 3. Thank you. I got you. I got you. All right. So 3 goes into 363 121 times. That was a hard one because most people can't find the perfect square. We already know 121 is what? 11. All right. Then it would be A, B to the 14th times B. All right. Now, plus or minus, what's square root of 121?
11.
11. What's square root of B to the 14th?
B to 7.
And what's left behind?
12.
No.
Or 11. 3 8.
3AB. Everybody's okay with that, right?
Yeah.
All right, flip the page. All right. 27, help me out. How do I break down 27?
3 and 9.
Yep, 3 and 9. Are the other ones perfect squares?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's divisible by 2. All right, so what's square root of 9?
3.
What's square root of x to the 10th?
X to the 5th.
Square root of y to the 6th.
Y to the 3rd.
And then what's left behind?
3 and or 9. Yeah. 3.
3, right? Because the square root of 9 is 3. X to the 10th becomes x to the 5th. Y to the 6th becomes y cubed. 3 is the only non-perfect square. All right, 42. Now, does 42 have a perfect square? Well, 42 is 6 times 7, right?
Yeah.
And 6 is 2 times 3. So is there a perfect square in 42? No, so that stays. So it's going to be 42 x to the 16th, y to the
8.
and y. So now square root of y to the 8th is, I'm sorry, I forgot the x's. X to the 16th is
X to the 8.
x to the 8th, y to the 4th,
42y.
radical 42y. Everybody happy with that?
Yep.
All right, everybody should be able to knock out 21 pretty easily. That's just what?
Well,
Negative.
12, x to the 6, y to the 3rd.
You are brilliant. Negative 12 x to the 6th, y to the 3rd. Anybody have a question with that? Because there's none of the, it's like this. And some people ask me this question. Watch, guys. Square root of 16 is just what? 4, right? Now, some people in the past have said, well, they thought the answer was 2 because they want to take the square root again. You only take the square root what? Once. Now, notice if you take the square root of 16, there's nothing left behind because it is a perfect square. These are all perfect squares. So once you take the square root of that, then you are completely done. All right, hopefully that helps. Now 125, that breaks down to what?
25.
25 times 5, a to the 6th, b to the 4th. So now square root of 25.
Plus or minus 5.
Plus or minus 5,
A to the 3rd.
a to the 3rd,
B squared.
b squared. What's left behind? Radical 5. Very easy. Very, very easy. All right, everybody try 25 now. See if you can do 25 by yourself and 27. All right, I'm gonna see how much more we have.
A lot.
Yeah, we have a lot. So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. All right, let's just see how you're doing though. I want you to do 25 and 27 and see if you know what you're doing. All right, without my help. Thirty more seconds. All right, 52 is how much?
14 and 3. Oh,
Four-
no, 14 and 3. 15 and
4.
4.
Yes, I know what you meant. 4 and 13. X cubed becomes what? X squared and x. And then we just leave y to the 6th alone because it is a perfect square. Everybody's happy with that, right?
Yeah.
So what's square root of 4?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. What's square root of x squared?
X.
Square root of y to the 6th. And then what's left behind?
13x.
13x. Everybody good on this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now 98. How do we break down 98?
Is it 12?
12 times 8 is 96.
49 and 2.
You are amazing. 49 times 2, x to the 16th, y to the 6th. Now do it yourself, all right? All right. Now what's square root of 49?
7.
X to the 16th becomes
X to the 8.
y to the 6th, and then radical what? That's easy, easy, easy. All right, now everybody look up, look up, look up. What's the matter? Come on.
I thought you couldn't do 6 because it's 3 times 2.
Yeah, but listen to me. This is what you need to remember now. These are exponents. They have different rules. Exponents must be even. Exponents, you divide by 2. So every odd exponent must be broken down. Every even exponent is good. You hear me on that?
Yeah.
You have to make yourself a note on that. There's just nothing I can do. All right, you divide exponents by 2 when you're taking the square root. If it's not even, it's not a perfect square. Your numbers are different than your exponents. Now, some of you are like, well, this is kind of easy. I kind of understand the pattern. If you kind of understand the pattern, please look at number 29. I don't want you to do all that work. I want you to say, what's the square root of 121? 11. So that comes out as an 11. Now, normally what I make kids do is I make them leave a space here and leave a space under the radical. Now, does x to the 11th go evenly?
No, it's 10.
No, but it is a 10, right? So it comes out as x to the 5th. And then what happens?
Just radical X,
There's an x left behind.
Y squared.
And then is y to the 4th okay?
Yeah.
So that's a y squared. That's how I want you to do it. Now, listen, some of you take this the wrong way. But listen, if it takes your brain a little bit longer to analyze the information, that's perfectly fine. If you want to write it as 121, x to the 10th, x, y to the 4th, until you see the pattern, you're able to write that pattern out quickly in your head. You should just write it out all the time. All right. But once you get the pattern, you should be able to do this whole worksheet in like 5 minutes. As soon as you understand the patterns and you get more familiar with the numbers. All right. That's why I'm saying you have to do the work. All right. You have to see the information for yourself. What?
Is I thought you were supposed to add exponents.
It's
Yeah, I'm not multiplying them. I'm taking the square root, Nora.
Yeah, but like,
I'm taking the square root.
I don't feel that's more from like if the square root is like number or like squaring a number, squaring something is like multiplying by itself, and like when if it's like x squared times x squared, now will be x to the fourth. I mean, sorry, that's like if it's x.
Oh, would you just listen to me, please? Just listen. All right. X to the 8th is x to the 4th times x to the 4th. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So what's the square root of x to the 8th?
X to the fourth.
What are you asking me then?
Like,
How did I get to 4 from the square root of x to the 8th? What did you do to the exponent?
yeah,
What did you do to the exponent?
well,
There. Wow. There you go, man. Man, your teacher is brilliant.
yeah.
I know that's what you were thinking. I knew that's what you were thinking. All right, here we go. Now, 80. Again, because we are brilliant. 80 is what times what?
40.
No. We're going to learn 80 from now on as 16 times 5. Right? If you want to say 4 times 20, I'm okay with that. But then what do we have to do to 20?
The bottom.
Yeah, you have to break it down. So you want to try to find the largest perfect square. Is everybody happy with 16 times 5?
Yes.
Right? And then, of
Yes.
course, b cubed is b squared and b. All right, so plus or minus. We're going to leave a space. Radical. What's the square root of 16?
4.
4. 5 is in the radical.
AB.
A, B,
And then B in the right.
and then b inside the radical. All right. Anybody have any issues with that?
No.
All right. So now for 33, what's the square root of 36?
6.
6. What's the square root of x to the 4th?
X squared, X squared.
What's the square root of y to the 9th?
Y to the fourth.
Y to the 4th and
Y.
radical y left behind. Are you with me or not?
Yeah.
All right, come on now. Same thing. I'm fussing at some of you because you used to be doing very well. Now you're at the end. All right, you're kind of getting a little lazy on me. Or you're not doing all the work. All right, and you're not speaking up like you used to. All right, so get back on that. All right, here we go. 35. All right, 44 can break down to what?
11, 4.
4 times 11. X squared x. Y to the 4th. Final answer. Negative 2x y squared radical what? 11x. Everybody happy with that?
Yes.
Anybody? Austin, you doing all right or not?
Yeah.
All right, Max, you doing all right?
Yeah.
All right, let's try 37. Are x to the 6 and y to the 8th good? Yes. All right, 56 though is what? Not 8 times 7, but what? 14 and 4. Okay. So what's the square root of 4?
2,
The square root of x to the 6th.
3,
Y to the 8th. And what's left behind?
4.
Thank you. Yesterday we talked about the square root of 169. What's the square root of 169? 13. B to the what? 13b to the 7th. Everybody happy with that?
Yep.
Anybody have any issues? All right, let's check out 41.
It'll be 12 times.
No, definitely not.
20 and 6.
Which one of those is a perfect square?
4.
Oh.
4 and 30. Thank you very much. X to the 5th becomes, and y to the 9th. Yeah, y to the 9th becomes.
Y to the 8th and y.
All right, come on, guys. Plus or minus what?
2.
2. Then what?
X to the 4th. Or x squared.
X squared. Then what?
Y to the 4th.
And what's left behind?
Radical 30 xy.
30xy. Can we break down 30? No, there's no perfect square in 30.
9. 2.
Yeah. 43. Both of those are perfect squares, right?
Yep.
9b squared. All right, I need help with 75, please.
You break down 25 to 25 to
25 times 3.
x to the 8th.
All right.
5x to the 4th. And then 3x.
Anybody have an issue with that? All right, what is 50? 25 and 2. Thank you. B to the 5th.
B to the 4th.
The 4th and B. So now I have plus or minus what, guys?
5.
5. B squared. Square root 2ab. Yes.
The next one is just negative, and then x to the y.
That's not hard. Right? It's really not. The rules: divide exponents by 2, break down the perfect square. That's all we're doing. All right. Now I will record the evens, right? I will record the evens in my next class. All right. And then I'll post it, and then you'll have all of the answers if you want to double check tonight, if you want to see how things are going for you.
All right.
All right. So I'm pausing the video right now. All right. Oh, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because I forgot we have chapel coming up.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to put, yeah.
How much time do we have?